So, a beautiful view of Washington, D.C. So glad to have you here. We're inside the Dubliner, where I've been surrounded by left-wingers for the last hour and 45 minutes. I have found a fellow conservative.
Oh, that's nice. How does it look?
Conservative. He's got a beard.
Oh.
And he wears cowboy boots. And unlike Al Hunt, they actually look, Robert Gibbs, like they belong on him. Tom Coburn, it is great to have you here.
Good morning.
Always good to have you here.
How are you? Welcome back to the show.
Thanks.
So, Tom, Barack Obama was a friend of yours in the Senate. How did your friend do yesterday?
Well, he did fine. I think he missed some opportunities to pull the country together. But a lot of his words were good words for the country to hear. We have such big problems. Some of the promises and some of the potential for our country aren't going to be achieved until we're pulled together and we solve the economic problems in front of us. They're not going to go away, and we're not going to grow our way out of them. And I think he missed a big opportunity to require the responsibility of this wonderful freedom we have that's going to require all of us to have some sacrifice. And it doesn't matter who it is, for us to get back, actually back on the track of where we need to be.
Your issue, like mine when I came into '94, but your issue when you came into '94, we came in together, and your issue since then has been the national debt. I said really the only part of the speech that really caused me concern was when he touched on entitlements, and it sounded like he still might be in political mode there.
Well, it doesn't matter what mode he's in, and it doesn't matter what mode the Republican's in. There's a power greater than both of them. It's called math, and the math's going to consume us.
Explain.
Well, Medicare Part A trust fund will be out of money in 5 years. Social Security disability will be out of money in 18 months. Ultimately, we're going to do something about those things. And so we can play the political game and not address the issue because it's hard politically. But that's my point, is the real leadership will pull the Republicans together, pull the country together with the Democrats, with the independents, and say, here's a problem that's in front of our country. All of us are going to have to give. Let's go solve this before. And the point I would make, the longer we delay the solutions for these very big problems, the more painful they're going to be.
Mika, that's a great irony, is those that would claim that they are standing in the way of politicians who are going to raid Social Security or Medicare and Medicaid, they are the ones who are ensuring, by delaying the fix, that the pain is going to be far greater on senior citizens and the truly disadvantaged when Medicare and Medicaid have to be slashed 10 years down the road instead of taken care of right now in a reasoned, sensible, moderate approach.
I don't think there's anyone who would disagree with that necessarily, but Senator, how does this really get done? Bipartisan groups have failed. And is it fair to say that there might even be some members of your own party that aren't really serious about it? Because I think therein lies the fact that you obviously have opposition from Democrats on this. How is it going to be pushed to the limit, like the debt ceiling, like everything else, the fiscal cliff? Is this going to have to go to the very edge for us to have to deal with it?
Well, you're not going to be able to take this one to the edge because you won't recover in terms of the benefit and the decline in benefit. Look, this is a political town. People play games. They play political games to try to influence next elections. I would tell you that the problems in front of us are really too big for that. They're too big for somebody to try to advantage themselves off of one of them. You look at $16.4 trillion right now. You look at Greece, the average family in Greece owes $36,000. The average family in America owes $51,000 towards the national debt, individual, not family. These are real problems. The question is the timing. When's the confidence of the world go away in our ability to handle our debt? And nobody knows when that's going to happen. And one of the things that happens is everything continues the same as it does until it doesn't. Except nobody knows when that isn't going to happen. And so I would just think it would be prudent, and plus very healing for the country. For the president to one of the things I think he missed in his speech was to call on America its better nature of sacrificing to accomplish a goal that's good for us all, no matter who you are. You know, if we don't do these things, the very wealthy are the only ones that are going to be fine.
That's right.
Everybody else is going to be in the tank
right now.
No, I was speaking earlier about how I thought that the president did call on us to look toward our better natures on the issue of civil rights, but he didn't on the economic, confrontation, the crisis facing us down the road. Do you want to hear that in the State of the Union? And what do you expect now from the House Republican caucus, which clearly took a big step backward from the brink in their caucus meetings and their retreat in Williamsburg? Paul Ryan seems to be showing a lot of leadership in this regard, telling them to look down the road and come up with some other solutions. What do you think that they now are willing to give, if anything?
Gosh, I probably can't speak for them. I don't know. That's a
neither can the speaker. Don't worry about it.
That's a tough caucus. The point is you got to find consensus that you can get 218 votes out of the House on. And so part of it, it's a Republican-dominated legislative body, but it doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to pass things with Republicans.
Yeah. Robert?
Well, look, I agree with Senator Coburn from a progressive perspective, right? In that, as he said, we have a math problem, right? We said this a lot during the campaign when we were talking about some of the Romney tax cut proposals. But if you let's look at this from a progressive perspective. See, it's starting to hit.
There you go, the vodka.
As Senator Coburn says, if we don't do some common sense, rational things in 20 years or in 15 years or even 10 years, we're going to have a budget that is completely taken up by entitlements in the Pentagon. And that will be the only thing we're capable of funding. It's the only thing we'll be able to use the power of some progressive government to try to change. I don't think you can be a really good advocate for education if at the same time you also don't make a powerful argument to get our priorities in order and make sure that we're capable as a society of responding to what we need to, because we are not fixed into a budget math problem that is so intractable, as Senator Coburn says, that we sort of just drive off the edge.
And Michael, we have no money for discretionary domestic spending to invest in education, infrastructure, R&D, the things that we've grown to expect government to do. If we don't take care of Medicare and Medicaid, we say it time and time again, and yet I get politicians on this show that still pretend you can take care of waste, fraud, and abuse, and we'll take care of it. And maybe selling some of the spectrum.
And foreign aid.
It's nonsense.
And foreign aid.
It is not foreign aid.
Yeah, let's cut foreign aid.
It is not even getting at the edges of the problem. And what I want to ask the senator is a Simpson Bowl framework dead? Is that now gone off the table? But is there still some potential there to bring that back? Do you see the president potentially taking the lead on that issue in the State of the Union and finally embracing that as a framework? Or is there some other model out there? I mean, because you have been, in my estimation, one of the stronger voices on the conservative side about that fiscal component. And so my view is pretty much lined up with yours.
It's hard to know. The Senate has not operated under regular order for 3.5 years. I mean, one of the ways to restore confidence in Washington is to go back to regular order, where you go through committees and you vote them, and you bring it to the floor, and you offer amendments, and you vote them, and then you merge it with the House, and you work a conference bill, and then you send it to the president.
That hasn't been done in years.
He either rejects it or accepts it. But the fact that we go down to a point because we're not doing process legislation, and everybody gets frustrated, and then all of a sudden everything moves to a dark room behind the scenes, and we come up with, quote, solutions after 2 or 3 people negotiating can't do it, and then we get a solution, and there's no transparency to the process, so therefore there's no confidence in the process. And so I'm not, that's not a partisan statement. That's happened on both sides of the aisle. I'm just saying our government works when it's transparent, when you allow committees and hearings and bills to go through committees, and you have full and honest debate and have people out there defending how they voted and what they thought.
All right, Senator Tom Coburn, thank you so much. We'll be right back. Keep it right here on Morning Joe, live from the Dubliner.